All right, ladies and gentlemen, the motherfucking Outrage TV podcast, OutrageCast. We're back on a beautiful Friday afternoon. A little bit steamy, but we're getting through it. This man right here, Devontae Green, hilarious stand-up comedian that I've grown to know by going to the Fourth Wall open mic up in North Hollywood.
No homo.
Doing our damn thing up there, man, working it out, getting crazy. And Devontae was on his way to his employment here at the goddamn in Hollywood. Shit, right on the way, stopping off for a little.
It's not as hot as it is in the valley, so that is a savior. But this is still abusive. I do want to put it on the record that this is abuse. You can't invite people to your house and you do not have central heating and cooling, one. But even if you don't have central heating and cooling, you could live like a fucking immigrant and get the window unit. They cost like $100 on Amazon. You know, there's no need to live like this.
I was thinking about the window unit, but look at my windows. They open sideways like that. You need to have the top-down shit right for that to work.
Well, you know, hey, look, man. If there's a will, there's a way. All I'm saying is, I don't ask for much in this world. This is what I ask for. This is what I have to have. Number one in my contract of everything that I do, it must have central heating and cooling. And you're saying, Devontae, well, what does that mean? Car must have fucking working AC and heat. And heat. Underrated is when you don't have heat. My house must have central heating and cooling. Okay? Because I get head colds. I got a very sensitive head here. It was fucked up at birth. You know, my mother's vagina was too tight. Doctor had to reshape my head. Long story short, I need central heating and cooling. Alright? And employment. I don't work anywhere outside. So, those are my demands, man. That's all I ask for as an American. I feel like that is what I am due. And that's what I expect. So, you say I'm asking for too much, and I can tell you, maybe so. But I won't be in those places. So. I won't even live in an apartment out here. I'd rather live with 13 gorillas with central heating and cooling than live here with you by myself.
Sometimes a little sweat's good for you.
No, it's not. Never is. No, it's not. That's why you are Nick Jordan, because you sitting here and be sweating. Sweat beads be going into your follicles and shit, and that's just the recycling of salt into your head, and that's not good, man. You gotta get that sodium out somehow.
I needed a workout, and I hadn't worked out in a couple days. That's what.
That's not gonna save you.
Last night, well,
it's not gonna save you.
But after I working out on the regular, I get more, you know, just grounded. And I sit on the stool at the Fourth Wall and I pontificate on the ills of the world. The ills of the world. You are a very. I don't know if you pontificate on the ills of the world or things that you just can't grasp, and you know, you go, oh boy, I don't understand why men want to be women. We're going to talk about it out loud for 5 minutes. We're like, nobody understands it. It's not what we're saying, Nick. What we're saying is we move past it. You know, can I explain it to you? I can't explain it to you. But, you know, I just move past it. I just want people to, like, have some humility about themselves. Because if you can't make fun of yourself or you can't take a joke, like, then don't joke about me. Like, if I can't call you Fruitcake Bruce Lee, don't go up there talking shit about
you. Call him Fruitcake.
No, I'm talking shit about all white people.
First of all,
like, and then I can't.
First of all,
say that.
No, you can't. You can't go. It was cute. Very, very adorable. Very adorable little Asian boy. So cute, so cute. And you know, he was clearly very new in comedy. Nick Jordan called him a Fruitcake Bruce Lee.
It's a very apt description if you see this gentleman.
Was he gay? Yes. Was he Asian? Yes. Fruitcake Bruce Lee. I mean, I'm not saying I don't understand it. I'm just saying
he had 0% body fat. He was kind of toned up. You know what I'm saying?
That poor kid.
He was ready to enter the dragon.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta be. Listen, the gays out here understand fucking you know, the cycle of life and hierarchy, all right?
When did gays become so goddamn serious? Why can't they just recognize you're doing some silly shit and then I'm gonna laugh at it and then you laugh at my shit?
Because here's the thing. It's hard, you know? You're out there trying to suck dick every day and people don't want you to suck dick. It's hard. That's, you know, and, you know, look. I stand with them as in the dick sucking union.
See,
but
I don't have nearly as much empathy for LA gays, because like, number one, you're not getting very much blowback at all. Number two, anytime you want to fuck, you're fucking.
That's true.
Like within an hour.
Anytime any gay wants to fuck you, fuck it. I don't care if you're fucking. Listen, they're fucking in Afghanistan, all right? They're fucking in Laredo, Texas, okay? All right?
Man, that's some dangerous gay activity right there, bro.
Well, no, it's not, because I find the more conservative the place, the more the fucking is going on. And they're just running away from the fucking man.
Right, but it's got to be under the floorboards and shit.
You know what it is? This is what it is. Let me tell you, break it down for you right here. This is some CNN exclusive shit. This is why people have a problem with gay people, right? Because they've been told their whole life there are rules. And that's one of the major rules they were told you have to follow. So now, there's somebody living a very great life, getting laid 1,000 times more than you'll ever get laid. And, it's jealousy. That's what I think it is. I think it's, I think people go, oh my God, why are those people so fucking happy? They're just sucking and fucking all day. Because if, we're going to get down to the meat and potatoes of it. If you raised, I believe, boys in a society where there was no gender roles, I think dudes would be blowing each other. Because dudes were already blowing each other in middle school. Are we not? Are we not going to talk about this? Are we not going to talk about the gay shit?
I don't know if that's some top-down enforced thing. I think it's
animalistic.
I think it's like alpha dudes make fun of that shit because they don't.
Alpha dudes would be fucking other less alpha dudes to establish their alphaness if it was not societally. And why is it not societally okay? Well, religion. So, and then once I boil it down to that,
because if like back in the hunter-gatherer days, or what our biology is based on, right? Mm-hmm. We haven't changed biologically for 200,000 years,
right?
So, back in those days, you couldn't. Like, if you were off sucking and fucking with another dude while the rest of the guys went out and hunted to get food for the village, that's why they were pissed. They're like, what are you doing? No, you're wasting time.
Okay, so first of all, anybody that knows...
You're doing ayahuasca and you're recycling each other's piss.
You can suck and fuck on your way to work. It's a great... You only need 10 minutes. That's it. It's 10 minutes in the time they run off into the bush at the end when the fire's going out. You come back, nobody knew about Ooga Booga and Booga Booga. You know what I'm saying? That's the way... There has been gay people since the Adam and Eve. After Adam and Eve. So that was the sons. If we're going to believe this story, right... the sons were fucking each other. That's what I gotta believe in. Listen, I know what's up. I know the truth, America, alright? I know the truth. And I know how many of us out there sucking and fucking each other, and it's pretty much everybody. It's pretty much everybody. I hate to tell you that. It's pretty much everybody.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with that shit. My problem is when they try to like raise their kids gender neutral or some weird shit. That's like bordering on some like weird child abuse.
Well, no, it is not. But what it is it's a reaction to and you might want to put your phone on charge. It's a reaction to the ridiculousness of white male patriarchy for the last 800 years that has dominated not just the West but also the East. So, if we are not willing to acknowledge that craziness, then you can't understand why everything is swinging back in a violently opposite direction. I see.
There's a malevolent aspect to that, just like there's a malevolent aspect to every culture you can point to in the history of the world. But one thing that people forget when they talk about that equation, is the successes. The fucking 99.9% of all technological inventions were white people, and we didn't ask for a thank you.
Who created algebra?
Did I say that? Is that technological?
No, white people didn't create math. White people didn't create writing. White people didn't create language.
Computers. We got smartphones.
These are Asian people.
Now, meanwhile, I'm just saying this.
Sell it very well. Capitalize human labor. White people have been very good at one thing since the beginning of time: how to use human labor as a commodity. All right, that is what white people have always, and even now today, they're very good. Labor unions. You look at jobs. White people are great managers. That's why even if I had a company, I want the middle management to be.
You just kind of equated capitalism with slavery, which is like
it is. I mean, why else would there not be? No, there's slaves till today. Why? Because capitalism.
Capitalism is when you create something that has value, and then you employ people that voluntarily want to work there.
But that's idealistic but not realistic, right? Because
when you have the government working with them.
Capitalism is an understanding of unchecked growth. So living in a capitalistic society, Apple has a responsibility this year to make 1 cent more than they did last year.
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't matter if last year they broke records.
For the shareholders.
So what that means is that is going to intrinsically, down the line, negatively affect humanity. And I don't think there's a debate about that. Because you have to make decisions based on valuing people at a lesser rate, right? Which then takes away equality. So, for instance...
Valuing people at a lesser rate because they want to increase their profit margin?
Right. So what you do is, for instance, right? So the problem is, why are white people angry? Well, white people are angry because of capitalism. And that's the thing. We gotta have these honest conversations. The reason why Mexican people have taken over America and they have it and it's over, and white people need to understand that. And if they were smart, they'd be singing Kumbaya and making fucking, pacts with black people and Asians. But no, you guys are gonna go kicking and screaming and just repeat history, and there's probably gonna be a genocide. Now, nobody wants to see that. No, but I'm being completely honest, right? Unless minorities are better than whites have ever been, because historically, whenever there's a massive change of power like that, there's always been a genocide.
I think white people are the most open people in 2018. Like, when you look in America, the demographics of this country.
No, stop it. No, hold on. Let me finish this point.
We're the most welcoming of anybody. Come in and kick ass. As long as you come in legally.
Let me tell you. No.
This is the most diverse society. Is this not the most diverse society on the planet? China doesn't get shit for not letting in non-Asian
Yes, America
people.
is the most. But let me finish this point. So the reason why America has lost its American identity is because of capitalism, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah, hold on. White middle class people. Remember what I said? White people have always been good at capitalizing on human labor. They figured out that they wouldn't pay your grandfather, and they sure as hell would not pay my great-grandfather what they probably need to sustain the society that they were living in, right? So your wages go up, like a labor union. Now they say, oh, well, labor unions are bad. Well, companies are never going to just naturally give their employees raises and let them have a nice estate. Because of capitalism, you have to make more money. You have to naturally make cuts, right? So where are some of those?
Well, it's a voluntary interaction. They can work there or not.
It is. No, it's a voluntary interaction until you start getting, conglomerates and people capitalizing on the market. But let me make this point. So what happened was we're not going to pay white people the $11.15 an hour they want. So what we're going to do? We're going to let these people come in illegally. Same way crack cocaine got in here is the same way as immigration happened. It was a designed system so that big business could make labor for cheaper and therefore increase their profits. So, again, my point is capitalism created this immigration crisis that is now so dangerous that it was just white people fucked each other about 70 years ago, and now they're fucked forever.
Well, I think it is. It's what happens when government corrupts capitalism. Because I think in a free market situation where it's just capitalism and you don't have a government that can give tax breaks and give regulatory benefits to the companies, that type of corruption doesn't manifest because then if a company wants to start doing some shady shit, people could just not do business with them. With the way we can communicate on social media and shit, because you don't have to do business with a company. You have to do business with a government. They make you do it. That's the involuntary aspect of the government that corrupts the whole incentive process. But I was joking earlier talking about white accomplishments because I didn't do any of that shit. And it's like, but I don't think I should take credit for any of the accomplishments of my ancestors, and I don't think I should take any of the blame for the bad shit they did either.
Well, I don't think you should be blamed. But I do think you have to move forward with responsibility and understanding.
Oh yeah, everybody has personal responsibility.
The same way that as an African American, I have to understand the history of this country to a certain aspect, and Latino Americans have to understand, and Asian Americans have to understand, because ultimately, and what is happening to America is good. It's truly good. It's gonna say. I think we've got to have a race war that we've never had. But we've always needed to have it because white people, since the beginning of time. I
think what needs to happen is what's happening right now is conversation back and forth instead of this you can never understand because you're not black or you're not white.
Happen? This conversation is never going to happen in regular day-to-day life. It would never get this far because both sides have moved too extreme to understand each other. And I will be completely honest.
I think a lot of that is the media.
No, it isn't. I think a lot of that is legitimately. If you have a group of people whose biggest fear when they wake up in the morning and what gets their dick hard is the genetic makeup of the country 100 years from now. And then you have people who wake up and they're legit.
Wait, who are those people?
But these are the people that I see running around going,
they wake up.
Oh my God, fucking the immigration, and oh my God, the fucking America is gonna be fucking brown.
Well, think about it. If you take the population of Mexico, right, and you switch it out with the population of Japan. Let's just say the population of Japan doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
Now the population of Mexico is in the territory that is Japan.
Right.
Is that still Japan? No, that's Mexico now.
No.
It's just Mexico over there.
You want to know?
So,
no.
With demographic
America
replacement,
has never been a country that has had a genetic ideal. That's the thing. To white people, it has. And this is what I'm trying to get you to understand.
well, the civilization started with the Anglo-Saxon Protestant colonizing it.
No.
Before that, it was buffalo and tents.
No, there were people of a culture here, and that's the thing. Unless if we can't respect that, your whole perspective is whack. Maybe you'll like us when you fade to black. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, no one's saying, "Oh my God, we want to get rid of the Constitution," and even if this bullshit about the founding
right, but
fathers.
a lot of the people coming in don't understand the
they
principles.
do. Listen, I guarantee you,
They're coming here for the welfare money.
No,
a lot of them.
People who come to this country have a better factual understanding of our history as a country than people who've lived here their whole life. And these are people who wave guns and shoot tags and tell they love America and stand for the flag. And these are also people who drink Hennessy and tequila all night. So America is not a country with a genetic makeup. It just hasn't been. America has been.
Yeah, it's an ideological makeup.
And that ideological makeup is
small government and separation of church and state.
Yeah.
That's what the shit was founded on.
That is a political theory, and guess what? Political theories must shift in countries over time, or your country will.
Well, that's what created all the wealth was the small government and the free market capitalism.
What created all the wealth. What originally created all the wealth for the United States of America was all this massive amounts of free labor that it got. It just, for some reason, was able to use all this free labor that nobody else had to pay for. That launched and catapulted it.
All population, all cultures throughout history have had slavery. Even before America, they didn't do what America did.
Right, but
so it was something different about America. We had a small government.
What did other countries not do that America did?
Built the greatest economy the world's ever seen. Take over the world economically and ideologically and culturally.
This has happened time and time again. America is just the Roman Empire. America is just the British Empire. America is just at one time.
The Roman Empire is the only thing comparable.
No, I would say the
British Empire.
Genghis Khan's empire was pretty fucking phenomenal.
They were more nomadic conquerors.
But still, I think first of all, I think it's like I'm not gonna misquote the fraction, but there's a large percentage of everyone in the world is related to Genghis Khan.
Yeah.
So that tells me about his culture, man. Look.
Can you imagine the 300th time he was rape fucking? Like he was probably doing it in his sleep. Like he didn't even.
And then at
part of his day.
Like his sons and his sons' and his cousins. But simply to wrap this up with a bow is what people are asking is a honest interpretation of American history. Which what we're saying does not start with the settlers. It can't. It has to start with the Native Americans because...
What about the natives?
You have to acknowledge that they were here and that there was a culture and that it was a rich culture and that it was a vibrant culture and that it was a alive culture.
It was also a warlike culture.
It doesn't matter. It does not matter. What we're saying is a culture, right? What Europeans brought over here was a warlike culture. They showed up with guns, germs, and steel. In fact, read the book, man. But
and that's
you can't change history, and no one's trying to change history. All we're saying is guess what? As much as you want to say about Betsy Ross and the flag and all that shit's great, you have to.
I'm not nationalistic at all.
But people won't acknowledge if you start with Native Americans, then you can tell the honest story of America, right? And then you say, well, what happened to the Native Americans? And then you tell what happened to the Native Americans. And then you talk about what happened to, African Americans. And then you talk what happened to Irish people. And you talk what happened to Polish people. That is the actual story.
I want to get into all that shit. Let me cut off a 20-minute segment. We'll be right back. I want to get into all that shit. Good shit. All right, we're back on the hot button issues in America with Devontae Green and Nick Jordan. So we're talking about like nationalism, and the idea of just white people's role in history in general. So
it's white people don't have a role in history because no people have a role in history. And that's the thing. I don't believe that white people have a role of evil because you can't say that. For me, it's very interesting that we talk about how evil Adolf Hitler is, but we don't talk about what Joseph Stalin did, right? It's interesting to me that we focus on atrocities in the Middle East, but we don't talk about what's happening in Africa. It's very interesting to me that we really don't like to talk about Latin America. So, every culture first of all, rape, murder, homosexuality, fucking jealous, all these things that we have in our society that people tell you are good or bad or whatever are natural, right? Because we are a part of nature. Everything that we do is therefore natural. Two dudes blowing each other is natural. We're part of nature. Some, God forbid, Bill Cosby character going out on a Cosby adventure is actually natural. That's a part of nature. You see it in other fucking mammals.
The people who invented Quaaludes.
Part
of nature.
And it is. This is all a part. We are a more advanced part of nature, but we are that part of nature.
We don't like to think of ourselves as animals, but we are. We're just rational animals.
Right now, we are in an unthinkable period of peace that we can't see. But at some point, there will be a point in time where this peace will not go on because it's impossible to.
All right, so let's go back to the Native American just real quick because number one, I'm not nationalistic. I don't have any blind allegiance to quote unquote America. I don't have any racial allegiance to quote unquote white people. What I have an allegiance to,
oh boy,
are the principles that allowed for this country to become what it is. The principles of trying to keep the government small, the people ruling the government, not vice versa, and allowing for free trade and allowing for freedom of expression via the Bill of Rights, and to not be fucked with and to do your thing and to make your money.
So let me ask you this question. Do you support President Trump?
I do.
Okay, so...
there's a whole...
No. But I'm gonna write down some of the things you said, right? You said you support Donald Trump. And we look at that.
Now
You said no. You told me what you believe in as a person. You said I believe in free trade. Donald Trump does not believe in free trade.
I'm talking about when I say free trade. I'm not talking about intra-countries.
He does not believe in free trade.
I'm talking about capitalism.
You said you believe in small government. He does not believe in small government. He believes in big government.
He cut the taxes a lot.
That doesn't have anything to do with small. That's not what small government means.
Yeah, he's gonna cut spending.
Small government means there would not be a government force that would exist to take babies away from mothers. Small government...
He didn't invent that.
No, he did not invent it, but he is still using it. If he was a small government, with the same stroke that he could employ those people, or the same stroke that he could get rid of those people. So I say to you, he is not a small government person. So then I would say, why do you support Donald Trump?
This is why. Because people didn't realize the full extent of how corrupt the system was with the Washington establishment handpicked candidates, the big bank handpicked candidates, the big multinational corporation handpicked candidates like Barack Obama, George Bush, Bill Clinton, all the fakes.
I agree.
So the only reason I voted for Trump is because number one,
say it. It made me feel good. Just say that first. Just say it made me feel good.
Well, number one, he makes me laugh.
And it made me feel
because
good.
He pisses people off that are dumb. But here's the main reason.
You came so hard on election night.
Dude, I had a cigar and a tall boy.
That's the hardest he came since his first time he shot a load.
Dude, but here's the reason. Because people always complain about the two-party duopoly and it's just run by money and it's just these big banks and corporations. But then nobody called Obama out on what he did with the big banks.
People did call Obama out.
They still look fondly back on his presidency, he was a statesman.
True.
And
right.
It's minimalized.
Right.
Okay. That corrupt Washington system, Donald Trump is not a part of that.
Yeah, he's a part of his own corrupt system. Not of the Washington corrupt system, but he brings in the New York real estate corrupt system. We can agree the man's corrupt, right? We're not going to pretend that he's not a fucking gangster. He's a gangster. We can agree he's been corrupt his whole life. And I'm not saying, listen, you can't be
I'm saying he's
president.
made most of his money legitimately.
No. What I'm saying is you can't be elected president no matter if you're Jesus Christ, all right? Without being, at some point, corrupt. You have to corrupt yourself.
He's not corrupt in the selling...
He's not corrupt in the way that George Bush and Barack Obama
in the selling out the country way.
Oh, I don't know about that now. I think that we will find out very soon with
I think for
Special Investigator Mueller. What I think...
That's nothing. For his ego, he wants the legacy of being the president that saved us from the brink of what Hillary Clinton was going to delve us into.
Nick, here's the thing, bro.
Hillary wanted war with Russia, bro.
There's no... First of all,
when did the left become pro-war? Hillary said we want a no-fly zone in Syria.
Obama was very good at killing people.
So. Obama turned the left pro-war.
And that's what people don't understand. You do it with a wink and a smile. You don't get out there and start. You go with big. It's called big dick diplomacy. You just take a picture of your big black dick and you send it to Ahmadinejad, and he's like, "I'll sign a deal. What do you want? What do you want? What do you want?"
Do you really think he was packing? It looked like Michelle was doing most of the heavy lifting in that relationship.
See, that is outrageous. That is outrageous. First of all, she's probably the best looking natural first lady that we've ever had.
She had shoulders, bro.
Yeah, but she's a bigger woman. She had different characteristics, but there's bigger women, man. She was athletic. If you look at her daughters,
you can't say she looks better than Melania.
Naturally, yes. Melania's not natural, so I would say she is.
She had work done.
Melania, yeah. I love her. I've seen Melania's pussy. Pull it up. Don't be crazy. Pull it up right now. Pull it up. Type in Melania Trump naked. You haven't seen these pictures?
I have.
That's all. What I'm saying is
we don't need to denigrate. We don't need to denigrate.
We don't. I don't want to. I apologize, Mr. President. That was too far. But first of all, if you look at the video, pull up the video of Obama walking away from the podium. Pull up Obama killed Bin Laden. I'm going to show you what's called the big dick walk. I'm going to show you how to identify men with big dicks.
See, this dude was all bravado, no fucking...
Because he has a big dick. You don't, listen, y'all don't understand. You don't have to do too much when it's there. You just... It's there.
There's a lot of speculation here about the size of Barack Obama.
It's not speculation. This is facts, man. These are facts. Everybody knows Obama has at least 9 inches.
How tall is he? Like 5'11"?
No, he's like 6'2". He's like I've met Obama a bunch of times. We're the same height. We hung out together. Look at
the American people did not choose this fight.
Do you want the mic drop at the end or
no. Pull it up. Open the screen. And I want you to just right around here find it.
After nearly 10 years of fight, we give thanks to countless intelligence.
To the end. We got the mic drop. That's the mic drop.
Remember that we can do these things not just because of wealth.
Look at him. He just fucking killed his number one enemy. And he ain't even tripping, dog. Look at this.
Under God. Indivisible.
What?
With liberty and justice for all.
Niggas is smoother than crackers.
Thank you.
Say that.
May God bless you.
Now, here comes the big dick walk.
United States of America.
Alright, we're gonna look at this.
Oh, they cut it off.
Pull up the YouTube video. See, now we've got to see the big dick walk.
This is propaganda.
People,
they cut him off short. They didn't want you to see the swag.
Go up.
Everybody knows Obama had swag, but he didn't have ideas, and he was.
I think Obama was the first black president. I think he was extremely successful as president. I think what happened was he was the first black president, and the country showed. Oh, Donald Trump is just a reaction to Barack Obama being the first black president, right? It's
also a reaction to the extreme left social justice hysteria that's going on.
It's not. I don't think so. I think it's a reaction to white people are scared and they don't feel.
Well, they're being openly,
challenged.
Aired out.
Yeah, well, they should be. Here's the thing, man.
I'm just saying, have an argument if you do it.
But
at least you come at it in a logical way.
Our country has always been a country where only white people's point of view has mattered. Only actually white men's point of view has mattered. That is something that now should that mean
it hasn't been that way for a long time?
Should that mean that we shouldn't listen to white men when it comes to making decisions in the future? No, your decision is your viewpoint is just as valid as my viewpoint, and we need that in a society. But we should acknowledge that y'all have been on some fuck shit for all of America's history. So we're just not getting to the point where white people aren't on fuck shit. So And it's hard for white people to understand that they can't be on fuck shit. It's like, just be cool, man. Nobody's even trying to like fuck with white people. We're just saying, don't fuck with us. Like, honestly, the slogan should be not Black Lives Matter, but it should be like, don't fuck with us and we won't fuck with you. That should be, because white people have this thing where white people like to fuck with people. White people have like this, I'm the privilege, and it's just like, hey
I don't know about
let
that.
different cultures be different cultures. You know, you don't always. And me personally, I don't know how much I believe in integration. So, I think that few might like to integrate, but as a society, not everyone likes to integrate.
If there's too stark of cultural differences, it's not inevitably going to work out.
I prefer to live with black people. I prefer to live around black people. I prefer to, if I can't live around black people, I want to live around fucking Latino people. If I can't live around Latino people, I want to live around Jewish people. At last, do I want to live around white people? I just find them to be generally not neighborly and not cool. Unless they're white people from the South, then I can hang out with them because they're cool. But everybody else, I want no parts of.
Yeah, it is like there's two elements of it, right? But I think the elements of white people of like quote unquote trying to oppress other ethnicities or viewpoints, or like, and then there's like the white element of being guilty for all that, and kind of that self-flagellation of like, my ancestors were fucked up, so I have to overcompensate and like grovel to people. And like,
yes, that's what that means. And to a certain white. Okay, so literally the deal at the end of the Civil War is black people get 400 acres and a mule. The idea of compensating black people for the 400 plus years of free labor that they gave to this country, people laugh in our faces about, and we don't bring it up. But why is that funny? That legitimately should be something that this country should try to do is, hey, let's figure out some kind of way. And what I propose is letting African Americans for 5 years not be subjected to taxes. We're only 12% of the population.
I don't think anybody should be subjected to taxes.
Listen, Nick Jordan, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about us. You see what I'm saying?
You're talking to an anarchist here.
Should be subjected. So what I'm saying is, in a relationship, you have to make concessions to make both sides happy. Sometimes you gotta watch a fucking show you don't want to watch. Now you're watching fucking Glow. You don't watch Glow. Now you're watching Glow on Netflix, and they're fucking wrestling each other, and it's great. Or sometimes she's gonna sit there and watch you play the fucking video game. She don't want to watch you play a video game, but it's a compromise. So in a society, sides must compromise. And all I'm saying is that white people don't want to do any compromising when everybody else has been having to suck y'all dicks since the beginning of the society. And what's going to happen is, whether, we can talk about it till the cows come home, is when the inevitable shift of color happens in this country, do we want white people to be treated equally, and hopefully we live in a society where everyone's treated equally, or do we want to live by the standards that white people set now? Could you imagine if Austin, Texas had a water crisis like Flint? Could you imagine that? If Boulder, Colorado, what happened to Boulder, Colorado's water happened to Flint, happened to Boulder, and we still sit here 3-4 years later and nobody's really done anything about it?
I think that speaks more to the general inefficiency of government to get anything done.
I absolutely agree.
It's a public water system. And it's like public shit always goes to hell.
But what I say is that when we have our government only reacts well when the public is outraged, right? Look at what happened in Houston. Oh boy, was that not a tragedy to get down there. Save those good old boys. We just found out yesterday, what was the news yesterday from Puerto Rico? 1,400
Houston's the most diverse city in Texas, bro.
Yeah, but, I mean...
It's not a bunch of white people.
But, look what happened in Puerto Rico. Those people pay taxes.
Happened? It was a hurricane?
Yeah, but we just found out yesterday that 1,400 people lost their lives. 1,400. That's ridiculous. And this is after the hurricane, which means general inefficiency of government. So all I say is what is this government that we participate in? Me, much like you, I'm not a big fan of government.
Oh yeah, and I think if there was a lot less of the government intervention, people would have that extra money that they would be paying to the tax man, and they could actually feel comfortable enough in their own lives where they're not worried about the rent or bills or this or that, and they could say, I care about this, I'm going to contribute to it.
No,
you see that crowdfunding all the time on the internet, bruh. Like,
that's anti. See, the reason why capitalism is so great is because it is the only economic system that directly correlates with human nature, which is I fuck you, I want to be better than you. I don't want to be. I don't ever.
It's not always that. It is
always that.
It's fuck you. Let's negotiate, but ultimately, let's get to the best deal for both of us, because that's going to satisfy both parties and make you want to continue to do business with somebody.
What? No.
That's how capitalism works with motherfuckers who rock it right. If you're openly found to being corrupt, your business is not going to last unless you
own a bank. Shout out to Wells Fargo.
Unless you got a lobbyist on the payroll.
They all do.
Yeah.
All politicians are a lobbyist for corporations.
You got to do it just to compete.
First of all, there's no such thing as a lobbyist. A politician is a lobbyist. A politician lobbies for the corporations. We got it backwards. We think corporations lobby to the politician. No, politicians lobby to the corporations.
Yeah, the lobbyists, the politicians are just like the prettier actor versions of the lobbyists that stand in front of the monitor and tell you.
Which is why I think Donald Trump is ridiculous. What is he really gonna do? Nothing. He's not gonna change anything. No president's gonna ever change anything until they shoot one in the head. The next time you see a president get shot in the head on broad daylight like Kennedy in '63, that's when you know you had a real president. Because they shoot those in the fucking head. All right.
I mean, you look at the way the media attacks him. Donald Trump,
because he's as close
as we've had to a real president in the last since Kennedy.
Nah, I don't agree.
Who was realer?
I don't know how to define that question, but I know when I look at Donald Trump,
who was less connected to the hydra of corruption in Washington. Donald Trump basically financed his own campaign.
No, the Russians fucking elected Donald Trump. Why can't we just say it?
The Russians put some Facebook ads on the internet, bro.
I'm gonna break it down for you. You ready? Citizens United was changed. I think it was 2009. Citizens United got changed by the Supreme Court. I used to work in politics, so I know a lot about this. Citizens United came down. The Supreme Court said that corporations can donate as much money as they want, and they can be people, which means they have as much right as people to participate politically. Yeah. That changed the game. That essentially meant there's unlimited amounts of money, and foreign governments could therefore influence elections because there would be no way to trace the money because you could hide it with super PACs, i.e. the invention of the super PAC. Now, you're having the biggest elections in terms of money being raised, right? Mm-hmm. But no one's tracking this money. The very first time that we have our first presidential election, we find out that the Russian government has directly involved itself into our election system. And I say...
Hold on, do you think Donald Trump needed money from the Russians to run for president?
No, it's not about the money. It's about the money the Russians used to elect him in terms of intelligence. Donald Trump could not have run the Facebook campaign the way that the Russians did, right? That took money. What I'm saying is that's still that's considered an in-kind contribution, right? If I'm helping you out, me helping you move is like contributing money to you, but it's not money. It's called it's an in-kind contribution.
Right, but that doesn't mean there's collusion and corruption. No, that means the Russians wanted Trump to win because Hillary wanted war with Russia. Right, I don't blame the motherfuckers.
But your president has admitted treason. What I amount to is treason. Your president has admitted that they sat down to knowingly take a meeting with the Russian foreign intelligence about dirt on Hillary Clinton. That is illegal and treason in black and white. He admitted it on Twitter. I'm not going to debate you about it. That's treason. So, I think he's really good at talking so much that people don't know what to grab on. But black and white, the look on your face tells me you know that's treason. So I don't know what we do about this because I don't think the country.
First of all, you didn't need to look for dirt on Hillary Clinton. All
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
She's got mounds.
Bernie almost took her out. The Democratic Party illegally colluded with Hillary Clinton. I think that there should be consequences there.
CNN gave us the debate question.
You're never going to catch me being picking sides. But I'm not going to say one is illegal because the other one didn't get... No, they're both illegal and they both should be punished. But what I do know is what I know so far is that Donald Trump Jr. And whoever else took that meeting and the president saying that he knew about it and then lying about it is not only obstruction of justice, but also treason, aiding and abetting treason.
You can't talk to somebody from another country?
No, not about a foreign entity, not about, okay, so
what if he saw something on RT? That was like, is that collusion? No.
A foreign government asked to sit down with you to give you information that they collected illegally.
If the information is true, why does it matter?
Because they illegally stole it from American citizens, from the Democrat. They stole. Now, where did this information come from? The DNC that they had. Remember, they hacked the DNC, and so then the DNC. That's when all that stuff came out.
I don't
Hillary
agree with
and
that.
Bernie. Oh God,
I don't agree with that. Do you know about Seth Rich?
Yes, I've heard about Seth Rich.
Seth Rich worked at the DNC, and he was a Bernie supporter. After Bernie got fucked over, all of a sudden that information got leaked to WikiLeaks.
So
it wasn't a hack. The information was the information.
The information got hacked from. Listen,
the information download happened so quick from the servers. It had to be from a local.
The United States military
device.
and the United States intelligence agencies both conclude that the Russian government.
I do not trust those motherfuckers one bit.
They both conclude.
Same people that gave black people syphilis on purpose.
Well, they gave. Listen, at least they didn't give us AIDS. They gave.
Segment break.
Yeah.
Hold that thought.
There you go.
We'll be right back.
Boom.
All right, we're back.
Listen. What happened in the 2016 election should be concerning to every single American.
It's concerning that Hillary was even.
Why do you keep bringing up Hillary, dog? Anybody talking about Hillary?
Because she was the other option.
Yeah, that's how brainwashed this country is, people. You see that? I'm telling you about a crime. I tell you, that both people committed the crime, and he keeps just telling about one of them. Because if you admit one, then that means, oh, my guy. Listen, they're both failed.
Trust me, I'm not a Republican.
Right, but I'm trying to get you to see that your boy, Donnie T, is not what he says he is at all. Right? I can spot bullshit a mile away. Now, I knew he was a bullshitter from the day I met him. All I'm saying is at this point, the bullshit has gotten concerning.
My thing is, what's the problem with having good relationship with Russia? They're a nuclear superpower. I think we should have good relations with them.
You don't sit with the president of Russia for 2 hours by yourself without taking notes. A, historically, that's undone. B, it puts the president of the United States in a bad position.
They always have private meetings.
No, they don't.
They have a public and a private.
Right, but private meetings are never done. The president of the United States is never alone. The president of the United States always has a note.
What do you think they were doing? They were chopping up innocent little kids back there. You know, like they were talking business. Let's get along. Let's figure it out. Like
that's not the way it works. It's not. Listen,
Donald Trump is a negotiator. This is what I was talking about with capitalism.
You see what I'm talking about?
You negotiate for what works.
I'm telling them this is how it works. All right, like listen. I used to have a Secret Service security pass, right? Like I've been in a room with Obama with about 7 other people. The president of the United States is never alone. The president of the United States definitely doesn't go into foreign meetings with America's #1 enemy without a note taker. Historically, it's bad. Secondly, you're now going to depend on your word of mouth to relay back to national security, to trade representatives, exactly what you agreed upon. Now, the reason why I know I'm right is because President Trump comes out of the meeting and says, oh, we had a great meeting, nothing more of it. President Putin comes out of the meeting and immediately announces that the Russian government is going to move ahead with the agreements made in the meeting. We still, a month later, don't know what fucking agreements they agreed to. Now, I'm just saying, if it's all cool and dandy, there's a way you do that, right? It's protocol. You put out a fucking sheet. You say we're going to do this, this, and this. You're the president. There's a lot of things you don't need approval to do. But what I'm saying is, we now have 2 very different versions of what happened in that room. And the reason why you at least take a fucking note taker is so that for the rest of time, the United States government puts things in archives. Trump can't delete tweets because if he does, it's a violation of archival codes. Everything that the president writes down, everything, we archive those things so that historians can look back on. We have no way to know what happened in front of President Trump's biggest summits now. We only have to rely on what the Russians said. And believe me this, if that bitch Omarosa can record the president, you don't think fucking Putin didn't record the president? He's an ex-KGB top man. So what I'm saying here is, this asshole president of ours is such an asshole that everybody thinks this RoboCop thing he's doing is cool. And I'm saying enough. Enough. Because, I come from a military family. I have people who've lost their lives in our family from the military. At this point, what the president does, and you ask people who have served in the military and served in the military, it's disgusting and it is a joke. It is a mockery. The things he says about our military, things he says about our foreign intelligence services are just downright disrespectful. And people think it's cute because we're still in that 2015 kick of drug, which is all just wrapped up in the white nationalism. But even people who serve in the military have no idea what to fucking do with this man at this point, because there's being a renegade and then there's also being reckless. He is reckless, and his reckless decisions directly affect people's lives. Right. That's what I'm saying. He's crazy. What are we doing anymore? Give Mike Pence the fucking presidency. This guy is unhinged. He is not well. The president of the United States took time out of his day to talk shit about LeBron James. Well, how do you have time to tweet about LeBron James? How do you have time to, he's so fucking ridiculous. He's so ridiculous.
Well, a lot of that, that's how Donald Trump has been his whole thing.
This is what's gonna happen. We're gonna
Rosie O'Donnell talk shit. He's gonna cut a promo talking shit about Rosie O'Donnell.
We're not talking about Mikhail Gorbachev. We're not talking about Angela Merkel. We're not talking about Theresa May. We're not talking about President Xi Jinping.
I don't think he's legitimately crazy. I think it's
Prime Minister Abe.
Part of his strength is looking like a loose cannon.
We're not talking about Supreme Leader Kim
and not being predictable, because that's why Supreme Leader Kim. That's why Kim Jong-un folded so quickly to Donald Trump.
He didn't. What did he do?
He made peace with South Korea, and then
First of all,
and then he agreed to denuclearize.
First of all, we now know that he stopped his nuclearization program, because they never stopped their nuclearization program. So the president of the United States stood next to, again, one of our top enemies for nothing. We gained nothing out of it.
South Korea feels a lot safer.
No, they don't. You want to know why? Because North Korea is still building nuclear weapons. If it would have worked and they weren't developing nuclear weapons, yes. But the whole reason
you're saying diplomacy has no value.
That's not who said that. What I'm saying is that faith without works is dead. So you must have trust but verify, right? Mm-hmm. Obama has a system in place with the Iran nuclear deal.
See, that's the divide. I don't trust the government at all, but I trust Donald Trump way more than anybody else in the government.
Okay, so if I tell you that we have evidence that Iran was following the nuclear deal, they were following their protocol, they were shutting down reactors, multiple international agencies have agreed upon this. President Trump, cool, great. So you only trust you and your asshole. So President Trump shut down the Iran nuclear deal because he's saying they're moving forward with it, and hey, they might be. But then he goes and tries to set up something similar that he ran against in North Korea, but it's a bigger embarrassment because he's embarrassed us now. And our allies have moved on away, or they're moving away from us, and we are going to lose strategic. We should be making advancements in Africa right now. We should be making advancements in Asia right now.
Advancements, what do you mean?
We should be making investments. We should be giving out business loans in Africa.
We're broke.
No, we're not. Our economy's doing great. We're
still broke. We're $20+ trillion in debt.
We're broke because people don't want to spend money, because everyone in this country is afraid.
The government wants to spend money. They're spending their hand over fist.
Everyone in America is afraid that the person next to them is going to have more than they have. So that's why the government can't. We should have a distribution of socialism in America. There should be a basic social standard in America.
Yeah, just destroy the incentive to make your own money.
You do not destroy the incentive to make your own money. You destroy your incentive.
Have you seen what the welfare system has accomplished? We poured $20+ trillion into that alone.
But let's look at the German
60s.
But look at the German welfare system.
The poverty rates moved like less than 1%.
Look at an effective, right?
The welfare system is the business of keeping poverty in existence.
It's not.
It's profiting off of poverty without doing anything.
America ran a welfare system, but look at how Germany runs its welfare system. It's tremendous. It's tremendous. Germany allows its young people to go to college.
And
right?
you know what that welfare system brought them?
What?
A bunch of Middle Eastern migrants that now have no-go zones set up in their country where the police won't even go.
Listen.
And German women are being propagandized to wear hijabs and burqas, and it's like they're trying to merge the Islamic culture into Germany based on Angela
Well, they
Merkel's
live there now.
open policy.
They live there now. So you give up a little bit of your culture as you
to
as
Islam,
you have to, and you also
that's the most dangerous thing because it's not just a religion. It's not just a culture.
It is.
It's a political system.
No, stop it. No, it's not.
Islam has no separation of church and state.
Oh my gosh.
It's a political
That's
system.
not true. Muslims are not. Those are.
It's a way of life. You
there's
ask a
a
Muslim
type of-
person, they'll say it's a way of life.
Right.
Sharia
Okay.
law is Islamic law.
No, it's not. Sharia law is a version of Islam, the same way that Catholicism is an extreme version of Christianity.
We don't have state-sponsored Catholicism.
I couldn't tell.
We have rhetoric that alludes to beliefs, but we don't have enforcement.
A lot of our policies.
You don't get killed for being an atheist.
A lot
in
of our
America.
policies. Well, why couldn't we have gay? What took so long for gay marriage in America? What was that? Why? Why do you think?
Because it's an ancillary issue.
Because it's a weird religious thing that we've been taught since the beginning of time, and America's a Puritan society.
Less and less so. There's more atheists now than ever.
And that's a good thing. That's why
It's a good thing.
That's
I'm an
why
atheist,
America is as great as it's ever been. See, this is why I disagree with Donald Trump. He can't make
Christianity
America great
has
because
value.
No, it doesn't.
It has value.
Religion has value.
Faith
has
Christianity
value.
and capitalism were huge in the prospering of America because Christianity lends itself to individualism. All right, you have a personal relationship with God, quote unquote, whatever you believe, and you follow your own morals. You have your own internal moral compass.
Okay.
So with other religions, it's a little different. It has to be enforced by the state. You have to have your hand cut off if you get caught stealing in a market in Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
You get publicly executed.
Okay.
And women who are trying to report getting raped, if they don't have multiple witnesses of the rape, they go to jail.
Well, I agree with you. Christianity doesn't lend itself any action. You can say you're a Christian and not have to live in
nobody forces it on you.
Love thy neighbor.
Yeah.
So, hey man, all I would say is that I would disagree with you, and I would disagree with anyone, and I disagree with myself when I make broad strokes about any race or group of people. But I would not make a generalization about Islam, and I would not make a generalization about.
I'm just saying the general
Muslim
principles
faith.
of it's not just a religion.
Right.
It's a system of state laws that go along and coincide with the
that's a
religion.
version of Islam, right? So there are Muslims.
Well, look at every Muslim country. Every majority Muslim country has
and that's not true
religious
either.
laws built into the government.
Right, but so does Christian countries.
Like what?
You can't. Some women can't get abortions. Why? Oh well, Christianity, right? Look at. So I live in a state where the state control alcohol stores, and you couldn't get alcohol on Sunday. Why?
Yeah, I remember that.
So what I'm telling you is, don't be biased to your own culture's bullshit.
Right,
We do.
Those are minimal things
No,
compared
but to
to
you. But if you were
I
not
can't
raised,
get wine on Sunday.
but if you were raised, I would say this: if you were raised in a culture where there was no religion, and then suddenly you were dropped into America, and you would say, well, what do we do here? Well, we have this thing called Christmas where we buy a bunch of gifts, and listen. So our own things are our own biases, right? And we have our own faiths. The thing about America is we don't believe in Christianity. We just bullshit about it because that's what we
Because
do.
the main thing is it's a moral structure for dumb people.
No, it's not. It's because nobody wants to go to hell.
No, it's a moral structure for
No,
dumb
believing
people.
in Christianity is like buying car insurance. You just want to make sure you fucking got it when you need it.
But I'm saying, with the atheistic revolution that's happened in America, also it has led to a lot of nihilism, a lot of
I just want to get back to the sexual revolution.
a lot of deviance that's like that has no moral principles connected to it.
That's not true.
Because there's no moral system that replaces Christianity.
But we've
I
never
disagree
lived in
with
a
all the
moral-
metaphysics, all the judgment against other lifestyles.
But we've never lived in a safer time.
But the principles of...
So, how do you counter that, though? We've never lived in a safer time. So, morally, we must be doing something, right? Murder is down historically. Rape is down historically.
Yeah, because there's still a lot of...
War is down.
There's still a lot of echoes of Christian moral principles.
Oh,
that
God.
It's basically
not.
don't rape, don't kill, don't murder,
There's
don't
no
steal.
Christians in Singapore, and they don't fucking steal shit. All right? What I'm trying to tell you is that's ridiculous.
And Christianity doesn't
doesn't do shit. Christianity is like rooting for the goddamn Bears, all right? Just because you root for the Bears and I root for the Packers, it literally has no more benefits than any other society has ever given, even atheist societies.
I think you're speaking from a very modern perspective.
No, I'm speaking from a... No, listen to me. They are, if you go read Ibn Battutu's book. Go read Eastern...
I have. Eastern philosophy.
Not philosophy, but read about Eastern doctrine and their faith to, I think, Japanese religion and their faith to their emperor and their duty to self and others. They're a greater society than us. Their achievements are greater than ours, and they are smaller and fewer. So I would say to you, they didn't need Christianity to do what they did.
One thing
why is the advantage? Japanese better than us? Should we all become imperialists?
Here's the advantage of Christianity. The value that those Eastern religions have, which they do have value, they do have moral principles. They do generally teach people how to live a good life. Okay, Christianity does generally the same thing. But one thing Christianity has is a very individualistic relationship to spirituality. It's not about we're all the same, we're all collective, and we need to, do something for the greater good. Now that idea, beautiful in rhetoric, disastrous in implementation when it comes to socialism, communism, and big collectivist governments that redistribute wealth and manage everything from a central...
Christianity is evil.
Christianity led to a small government society.
So have you ever read
that was very individualistic and very capitalistic and very prosperous.
So have you ever read the Old Testament?
No, I don't fuck around with that.
Okay, so Christianity...
I just look at the principles of the morality.
But Christianity was usually used to justify slavery.
By who?
There goes by Christians. So there's the end of your argument.
You know who ended slavery worldwide? White Western European Christians.
Oh dear God! You can't start it and then get credit for ending it. What I'm saying
we didn't start it.
What I'm saying
the
is
Arabs enslaved whites.
We're talking about
1,000 years before that.
Right. We're talking about
we didn't start slavery.
You're talking about a religion as
I'm not going to slip that in.
There's no goodness to religion. There's no goodness to Christianity. There's no goodness. What religion is faith. Faith is good. Faith in good doses is good. But faith in Christianity, faith in anything, that's all bullshit.
Oh yeah,
that's all just a way to get. That's a way to get to the idea of.
That's
faith.
what I'm saying. It's a metaphysical shortcut for dumb people to live a productive, good life.
So there's no point in arguing that Christianity has any.
There's a lot of dumb people. We got to figure out how to teach them how to not be evil. And Christianity is a shortcut.
Hitler was a Christian. So.
Oh, she's up to something. She's spirit cooking.
I'm just saying, man.
She's got goat's blood.
I think
in the
everybody's
closet.
full of shit, and I'm just here. I'm hoping I'm not too young to be involved when, I wish I could be just born. Like, I would love to be one of these kids just born.
Man, you have an iPad in your crib.
Oh my God, the amount of fucking great sex these kids are gonna have. They're just gonna be fucking, or it's gonna be like the fucking Roman times. Everybody's gonna be fucking and sucking, and
birth rate's gonna go back up.
No, that's the thing. The birth rate isn't gonna go back up because intelligence is going up, and intelligence and birth rates tend not to correlate. It's only stupid people have a lot of kids.
You're only gonna be more effective birth control, I guess.
Well, yeah, man. I mean, nobody wants to have kids. Societally, we're at a point where
nobody has any money in their bank account.
There's no point for kids as a species, right? So there's more than enough of us. In fact, there's too many of us. So
that's looking at humans from a strictly consuming point of view and not recognizing the creativity that certain individual humans can bring to the entire world, like a Elon Musk or a fucking Isaac Newton, somebody that can invent some shit that's going to help all of humanity.
And those babies have been aborted and
you might have the kid that invents the desalination machine that lets us drink the ocean.
And you've rubbed that kid into your sheets. So you know, I mean, I don't.
I'm saying it's a possibility.
I don't really give a shit about human.
You're
life
glad
like
you're here, aren't you?
I don't. No, man, I don't give a fuck. It has nothing to do with me. Getting here had nothing to do with me. I am here now, and that is all I can do until I am no longer here. And then once I die, it has nothing to do with me either. So it's like, to me, it's very funny that people again care so much about what's gonna happen when we're no longer here. Like, I wish people who cared, the same way that I wish white people would admit that they're just afraid of what's gonna happen when the evils that they've perpetrated on other people are gonna be perpetrated on them here in America. The same way that I wish that climate change people.
See, I don't understand that.
Let me finish. The same way that I wish climate change people would just admit that they're nervous that they're gonna be dead soon. That's all it's not. They don't care about the fucking environment because the Earth is gonna be here, people. Okay, sea tide rising doesn't mean the Earth goes bye bye. It means that dolphins get more power. It means we go bye bye. Like, save the dolphins. The dolphins will be okay. We're gonna die.
That's like
so just admit the shit. You know what I mean? And so, you know, that's all my thing is. Let's get to the root. You get to the root of things and you can pull the cancer out. But until, you got to be willing to get to the root of it. And again, I think what Donald Trump is and all the anxiety in the country is just white people. Conscience is coming back. They're sitting up in the middle of the night going, oh my God, it wasn't me. I didn't do those bad things. And it's like, it's okay because we live in America and nobody wants to be evil. So that's why, you know, people get upset now when people, to me, hey man, there's very easy things we can do in this country to be better neighbors to each other, you know? Hey, stop shooting black guys. Can we all agree on that? Can we stop making
black guys, stop shooting other black guys out there.
Can we make it a point to understand that when a cop shoots a black guy, that's murder? Can we make that and understand that the cops don't disproportionately, black people are only 12% of the population, but yet we get shot the most by most cops?
They do commit over 50% of the homicides as well.
Okay, all right. So I don't have statistical data on that, and I'm not going to pretend that I have statistical data.
Sorry, we're back.
When you overproduce over-police black neighborhoods, you have you have inflated statistics on numbers. And again, of course, you're going to have higher crime when you have people marginalized and kept away from opportunities and kept away from.
And that goes back to the welfare system that's not helping the black community at all.
The welfare system has nothing to do with that.
It keeps people entrapped in webs of poverty.
The welfare system literally has kept white people alive. Here's the thing: if there were not for the very little bit that for historically black communities were not able to get, and Latino communities were not able to get, and white people were not able to get, because let's talk about welfare. Welfare is by and large 60% white people. White people are the largest takers of welfare in this country, and nobody wants to talk about that.
Not per population. Within the population, black people are a much higher
That's got nothing to do with it. White people take more of welfare
just because there are more of them in the country.
So there's more white people. Now
there are more of them in the country.
Right. But
if you look at percentage of the group,
but those white people and those white people don't have to fucking deal with racism. So what's their fucking point? You know what I mean? If you were
white people are definitely dealing with racism now.
Listen, no, they're not. No, they're not. You're not dealing with racism. You're dealing with accountability. There is a difference.
And I think this goes back to the media hyping up all the police shootings and shit.
It's not hyping it up.
What was there? 10 incidents in the last,
that's 10 too many.
5 years?
No, it's been way more than 10. But that's 10 too many.
Right.
One is one too many.
It's all terrible. It's all too many.
Execution,
but there's a focusing on it
because
that hypes it up.
Yeah.
When there are much larger aggregate problems going on in the society.
To you there are, but to me, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I can give a fuck about North Korea. I can give a fuck about immigration. I really like cops and stuff. The number one thing
I'm talking about, we almost elected a socialist.
I don't care, dude. Listen, and that's the difference. That's the difference in this country, that people can't understand that. What's important to one group of people, we're not able to even have a conversation and say it's important to another group of people. The reason why you keep hearing about it is because it's fucking important to a group of people. Mm-hmm. It's extremely important to black people because this is something that people laugh and joke at like it's not happening at an alarming rate. But it is a fucking genocide. What America has contributed to black people. Extreme. No, it's not. It's a genocide. Why do you think black people have not had population growth? I'll tell you why. Because black men are incarcerated at a much higher rate than anybody else for crimes that are non-violent, right? So when you look at the way that black men have been incarcerated, you'd have to look at the system of prison to pipeline.
Yeah, I hate the war on drugs in the private
So what I would say is, we don't like to talk about it as a genocide, but that is the way I look at it, is the way that white people have used to control population and control voting and control a bunch of things. It's documented, right? And so if we don't have these honest conversations, and we don't look at those things and look at all of that as an institution of racism and an institution of what it is, then boy, the country is just going to fall apart. But we have to help each other. We have to, and if that doesn't happen, then guess what? You're not going to stop hearing about black people getting shot. In fact, it's only going to get louder, and it's only going to get more violent. That's what I'm saying. These things are only going to get more. Latino people have been incredibly patient, but they are going to get violent here. They are under attack, and how much longer should they sit there and see their people? Listen, when I see babies being taken away from their mothers at the border, that is something that it irks me in a way that I know that's not what I was taught this country is. We're better than that.
There's what the country has done entire existence.
There's a way to do that.
It's how you process them.
We know.
You don't know if that's their parent or not.
Well, listen, my friend. I think that there's a lot going on in this country that some people want to make a bigger deal, but unless we start listening to each other, we're just gonna be yelling and yelling and yelling until the fucking Russians come over. Think about that. If nothing else, the Russians won because they exploited the divisions that are already naturally there in this country. America's fractured, unbelievably so. I don't even believe in this country, man. There's no country.
I feel you right now. All right, we're back. Quick little wrap-up session. Ranting and raving here on the political issues of the day, ladies and gentlemen.
It's the political issues that have always been in this country.
But yeah, I think the internet may be our saving grace if we can just have rational conversations based on facts. And because people are so whipped up in emotions now.
Facts are
I hate the mainstream media, how they focus on certain emotional things that get people riled up and make them literally want to go protest some shit that has may not have any direct effect on their own life because they're so whipped up by the emotions of the media. People have to take time to educate themselves and have open conversations with other people that are on their level and come to agreements, because you're saying it's fractured. People are in different headspaces. Everybody wants to have their own version of the truth.
Well, I'll tell you,
there is an objective truth to be reached. We just have to have the philosophical techniques to get there and agree on some shit.
Well, I'll be honest with you. That sounds great, but you can't practice that. We can't practice that.
I mean, it's going to take the high IQ people to come together in society.
It doesn't take high IQ people. Let's look at the Me Too movement.
Because the lower IQ you get, the less you can process reality, and the more you get caught up in your emotions.
I think people get it. Low IQ people get it. High IQ people get it. You don't have to be smart to understand right and wrong. You just got to not be a scumbag trying to outwit people.
Well, they buy into the division.
No, man. I know smart people who would never Me Too somebody, and they understood it immediately. And I know dumb people who would never Me Too somebody, and they understood it immediately, and vice versa, right? The Me Too movement is absolutely a watershed moment, I think, for me as a man, for me as a person, for me as a citizen, right? Because what it taught me was that women are absolutely being abused in a rate of which I was not aware of. And you want to know why I was not aware of it? Because I'm not out there being a creepy nigga. So that didn't cross my mind. But from having honest conversations with women and then thinking about things that I've seen and maybe some of my own behavior, there's a lot of creepy shit that goes out there. How much are we as a guy, or we taught, especially in high school when we first started messing around, and you're just trying to fuck, and it's just like, nah, the first no is not a no, right? Guess what it is? It is. Guess what? It is. It is. So, that's something that I would teach my son now, that changes culture, right? So we make fun of it and we say, this is stupid. No, it's not, man. Because God forbid I have a daughter and some knucklehead, takes advantage of my daughter, or my daughter isn't valued when she says someone hurt her. Mm-hmm. That I understand as a black person what it's like to be told, you're saying you hurt doesn't matter and it's not equal. So I can only relate. A woman told me one time, would you walk up to the corner store? I was like, no. Yeah. I was like, yeah, I'll walk up to the corner store. She's like, yeah, I wouldn't right now. And I thought about that. Those are two very intrinsically different worlds. I would not mind walking to the corner store, but she would be terrified. She couldn't do it. Her safety.
Yeah, it's just a physical reality.
Right. So, I think that a lot of the times what it does take is, instead of some of us trying to defend ourselves, we got to shut the fuck up and listen to people when they say, hey, I'm offended. Even as a comedian, I'll tell you, when somebody tells you they're offended, let's listen to them and see if they're really offended. And if they are, it's okay to go, I'm sorry, and not do it again.
Yeah. If they have a point. But there is a...
If they have a point.
There is a rational conversation on both sides, too. I think a lot of it is women and men haven't been working together in the workforce for really that long.
It's not even that hard. Stop being fucking creepy.
Definitely sexual assault is not hard to not do.
Apparently it is.
But the little shit where women say they feel uncomfortable, and then the little tangential things, that's a negotiation of sexual mating practice that men are gonna fuck it up. Men are gonna misjudge situations.
No, it's not. I mean, those things happen.
A lot of it is young men not.
No, it's not. A lot of it is just dudes who are
figuring out how to be a man.
Yeah, and to whose expense? Again, it goes back to my argument about white culture in America. You don't get to whose expense. Your innocence and your idealism has to be somebody else's reality, and at someone else's expense. So, sorry guys, you better fucking start blowing. Again, this is why I'm for dudes blowing each other at 10, because then we'll learn how not to rape, because we'll stop raping each other by 11, 13, we'll be ready for the chicks by 14, 15, and nobody got their, hoo-ha's touched.
It's all leading up to the robot sex doll revolution.
It's already here.
We're going to not take the risk of interacting with women.
It's already here. I mean, I don't know about that. Because I'm a pervert, and I've never been accused of being a pervert. So, I'm just saying. I'm a pervert, and I've never been accused of being a pervert.
But also, don't take business meetings in hotel rooms at 2 a.m.
Common sense. Common sense. Unless it's with me. Then it's absolutely legit. Because I'm going to put on I'm going to email you the agenda. I'm going to CC my assistant on it.
We're going to put your phone in a pouch, alright?
Don't worry about it. It's going to say on the agenda, a 1 a.m. dick appointment. That's it. And, so you're not surprised. I'm not surprised. There's no surprises. We're not at a kid's birthday party. Listen, guys. I gotta get out.
Devontae's got to get out of here. Beautiful to have you over.
Well, thank you for inviting me to this fucking
shanty.
This is, I would imagine, this is often what the refugees at the border are living in right now.
We're in a live from the refugee cage here. Yeah, man. Hope to have you back. Maybe do a sketch.
Nope.
Something.
Maybe when you can get some central heating and cooling. Or in the winter. I'll come over in the winter, but I can't be out here in this heat like this. I'm talking to my agent about this. I had dreams in my life. Didn't think it would end up here. All right, man. I got to get out of here.
All right. Outrage TV. We love you.